Okay, so let's go ahead and solve those two remaining equations. Let me bring them up here. All right, and so again, the idea is we're graphing, we're going to let this side right here be y1, let this be y2. We're already kind of expecting a picture, right? And then we're going to look at the intersection points. So using my graphing calculator, I first go to y equals. Let me go ahead and clear my previous functions out, right? Oops, clear that out. Clear. There we go. And then I'm going to type in my absolute value. So again, go to the math menu, over to num, ABS, right? In the absolute value, we have x squared, right, minus 4x. Get out of there, right? And that's what's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is 12, so press enter. And then keep in mind, right, y equals 12, that's already past my top half of my viewing rectangle. So knowing that, how about we go to the window and let's just change y max. Let's move it out to 20. All right, and steps of 1 is fine. So now that I've got everything accounted for, including the viewing rectangle, let's go graph. And what I get, there's the absolute value graph, right? Very interesting. And then there's y equals to 12. So we can see we have two, right, points of interest where we have an intersection. So we have two solution points. So again, we're going to use the intersection idea. So second calc, we're going to calculate an intersection, right? Right now I'm on the first curve, that absolute value, so I'm going to move over to that point of interest and press enter. Now it's asking me, I'm on the second curve. Again, let me move up at left and right. So notice I'm moving along that y equals 12 graph. My cursor just keeps moving along. So get close, press enter. Ask you for a guess, I just press enter. And what it's giving us, it looks like x is equal to -2. Right? And at that point, it's also telling me what y is, which is no surprise, it's 12. So one of our solutions to that equation is -2. Finding the other one, second calc, we're going to go to intersection, right? I got to move my cursor, right? We're on the first curve, and we're going to move it to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, till we're close. There we go, right there, right? We're close about right there. Press enter. Then it's going to ask us on the second curve, right? Move left to right. Where are we at on that? Right? How about right? There looks good. Again, guess, I just press enter again, and it's returning a value of 6, right? And again, y equals 12, no surprise, it's an intersection point. So there's the solutions. So for this equation, the two values, there's only two values of x that make it true, -2 and 6 respectively are your solutions. Of course, we would have seen that if we'd have followed through with the algebra, right? Setting up two equations, it looks like they'll be both quadratic, solve them. It looks like one set will give us some things that are extraneous, and then another would actually give us those two. So the algebra would be in line with what we're seeing visually. Last but not least, right, we have a parabola equal to a line. So let me go back to y equals. Let me clear these guys out. All right, let's type in our quadratic. So x squared minus 4. All right, so there's that quadratic. The other side's a line, 2x minus 1. Let me go back to my standard viewing rectangle since I messed around with it last time. Here's the graph. So there's the parabola, x squared minus 4. And there's the line, 2x minus 1. We can clearly see we have two solution points, right? There's two intersection points. So let's go find them. So second calc, right? We're going to calculate an intersection. We're asked to be on the first curve, so get close to that intersection point. So I think I'm close about right there. Second curve, right? We're going to, I guess, again, enter about right there. Give us a guess. And it looks like x equals to 1, or -1. So one of my solutions is x equals -1. The corresponding y value is -3, but that's the big guy that we're after. Right? We're trying to find the values of x that make that true. There's another one up here. So again, let's go to second calc. Let's calculate that intersection. Right? We're going to move our cursor over, get as close as we can to it, which is right about there. Right? Press enter. Now it asks us on that second curve if you want to see yourself moving. Right? There I am on that second curve. So that looks good about right there. Right? Ask for a guess. I just press enter one more time, and it's giving us that x equals to 3. Right? So there's the solution. It even tells us what y is equal to if we're interested on that. But there's the two values of x that would make that equation true. And just to support it with the algebra, right? Algebraically, I'd probably, if I was solving this algebraically, I'd probably first move 2x over and the plus 1 over, giving us x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Factoring it, this would factor as x minus 3 and x plus 1 equals 0. The zero factor property now applies, right? Since my factorization is equal to 0. Adding 3 to both sides, there's x equals to 3, matching what the calculator told us. Subtracting 1 from both sides, there's negative 1. So my algebra matching up what we're seeing visually, right, with solutions. So you have another tool, right, to solve equations. Quiz-wise, I'll be expecting algebra to be used, right, and of course you've got that to estimate them and give you some inside information to know whether you're right or wrong. So there you go. There's really no homework problems in terms of the book. I think they're scattered around. They'll ask you to use your graphing utility to check. So I think it's there by default. But to wrap up this, to wrap up this particular graphing module, I do have a little bit of a homework set for you guys to work with and practice and discuss, just to make sure you're pressing all the right buttons and doing all the right things. All right? Because again, even though I prefer the algebra, knowing how to press the buttons is also important as well for your next classes. So just make sure you practice that, work on it, and then you can use it to check answers as you work through your textbook. That wraps up our graphing utility module. All right, let's go back to the algebra, right, and more modules coming soon.